Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd. Brought to you by
Coastal Appliances, Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Apple Care Immediate Care, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan.
Now here is your host, the voice of the Brunswick High Pirates, the Professor, Teddy Bishop.
Welcome to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. I'm Teddy Bishop. This segment of the Victor Floyd Show is sponsored by Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Coastal Appliances, Apple Care Immediate Care, Bruce Kennedy Tire, Misty's Element Massage, Jenkins Nissan, 1041 The Wave, and Marshside Grill. And now joining us, the head coach of the Brunswick High Pirates, Victor Floyd.
Good evening.
Coach, again, I just want to congratulate you, your coaching staff, and your players on making the playoffs.
Well, thank you.
And we'll get back to the playoffs in a little bit, but I want to talk some about last Friday's night game against Ware. Ware County, of course, the number one ranked team in the state, and defeated the Pirates 48-19. Coach, were the Gators as good as advertised?
They were good. I think we helped them out a lot. We didn't play our best game. And when you don't play as well as you can play and play a team as good as they are, makes for a long night.
And, Coach, your starting quarterback, Randon Jernigan, was injured during the game. What's the extent of his injury?
It's just an ankle. He's, if we can find a way to get by this week, he'll be ready in a week. He's back running on it, just unable to cut. So it's not as serious as we originally thought.
Well, that's a plus. So round two of the playoffs, and Randon would be available. Coach, again, talking about the game against Ware, turnovers hurt the Pirates. Do you think that was the difference in the game?
Well, it had a lot to do with it. We didn't match their intensity. That was the difference in the game. They came out and played at a high level intensity-wise, and we failed to match it. So that was the difference, and that's what caused the turnovers, the fact that they were just flat-out outplaying us, and that kind of comes with the territory.
And some key penalties against the Pirates also hurt some drives and stalled some drives. Was that a big role also, the penalties that the Pirates had?
Well, once again, that's kind of part of the game. We have to be able to overcome things like that. You expect to have calls against you as well as a few calls for you. And you just have to be able to take the good with the bad and continue to play well. Coach,
when Randon got hurt, how did his absence affect the mood of the team, if at all?
Well, I mean, anytime your starting quarterback goes down, I think it affects the team in some shape, form, or fashion.
Right.
I thought that Shaw responded pretty well. Brandon got most of the reps last week during the week, and Sean got very few at quarterback. But considering, I thought he did a pretty solid job.
Coach, and we were talking about his performance, and you said he really did a solid job with Randon out. And I know you had told me in some previous Victor Floyd shows that you had some packages, even with Randon healthy, that you had some packages for Sean at quarterback. And I'm sure you've probably expanded that some this week in practice.
Right. Well, he got a chance to take all the reps. That's the biggest thing. As long as he gets the reps, he'll be okay. And again, just on the spot, Johnny Friday night, he did a pretty good job. He's the first back this year to have over 100 yards on Ware.
All right, that's quite a compliment. This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, want to talk a little bit about kickoff returns. Throughout the season, it seems like you've had several players that are capable of having some good returns. I know a couple of weeks ago, Jalen Jackson did a pretty solid job returning kicks, and this week, Darius Lampkin had the 91-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. With that much talent, how do you decide who's going to return the kicks?
Well, it's really not that big a deal. We kind of rotate guys back there, and usually if they kick it deep, we can do an adequate job.
Okay. Coach, last week we talked about your offensive coaches, and this week I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about your defensive coaches.
All right. I'll start with the defensive coordinator, Coach Ferguson. This is his first year at Brunswick High, first year in this area. Coach was my former defensive coordinator in college when I played, and he's coming to us from the University of Indiana. He was a off-the-field recruiting guy for the past 2 years at the University of Indiana. And Coach has coached every level, high school right up to Division II. He's been a head coach on the Division II level. He's been coordinators at the 1AA level. He's been position coaches and coordinator at the 1A level. So he's got a lot of coaching experience over the past, 35, 40 years. And we're glad to have him on the Pirate staff this year. And he's getting acclimated well, and I think he's enjoying it, and I think he's doing a solid job for us. Defensive line, you have Johnny Butts, who's been I'm trying to think how long Coach has been here. This may be his 11th year at Brunswick High School. Actually, maybe a little longer than that, maybe about 12. He was here a few years before I got here, and he was on the previous staff, and he's been on my staff, did a good job for us. He's coached DBs for a while. He's been with the defensive line for the past 2 or 3 years and has done a good job there. And also helping Coach Butts, you have Coach Vaughn, Jason Vaughn, who's also helping with D-line and coaches the JV D-line. And defensive ends coach, you have Kenny Maynard, who's a former Pirate, played here, as well as Coach Vaughn. He's also a former Pirate that played here. Kenny played with Troy and then a short stint with Winnipeg in Canada as a defensive end. So he just finished playing professional football a year ago. And we're glad to have him as a part of staff. He's working with our defensive ends, doing a good job there. At linebacker, we have Taylor Sharp, who's in his second year with us. I hired him a year ago from Rome High School. He's originally a Cartersville, Georgia boy. Played on some good teams there. Teaches math in the building, does a good job as a math teacher, and he's been an exceptional coach for us since he's been here coaching linebackers. In the secondary, we have Coach Perry, Keon Perry, who also played at Brunswick High, played at junior college ball, and played at University of Buffalo at defensive back. So he works in the secondary along with Martavius Miller, who is a guidance counselor at Risley Middle, and he helps with defensive backs also. And then Coach Ferguson kind of oversees the defense, and he works all 3 levels.
Okay. Pretty solid coaching staff, and I know it said that defense wins championships, and I think you've got a very solid defensive coaching staff.
Thank you.
Coach, let's take a short break, and then we'll get into the playoffs. There will be more to come on the Victor Floyd Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Right now, these words from our sponsors.
Coastal Appliances is your one-stop shop for Whirlpool washers and dryers, Whirlpool refrigerators, and so much more. Coastal Appliances offers free delivery and service after installation and have also been in business for over 30 years. 4727 Altama, next to Sonic, and on the web at appliancesbrunswickga.com, or give them a call at 912-267-0132. Coastal Appliances, Glenn County's only specialty appliance store. When you are in need of a reputable body shop, Port City Paint and Body in Brunswick is your answer. Located at 2509 Norwood Street, just down from Twin Oaks, Port City Paint and Body understands your needs and cares about your car and you. Port City Paint and Body works with any insurance company. Give them a call for a free estimate at 912-265-9524 or on the web at portcitybodyshop.com. Port City Paint and Body, home of the lifetime guarantee, and go Pirates!
Hop aboard for Texas Hold'em tournaments, roulette, poker, lots of slot action, food, music, and more. Labor Day weekend, Sunday, August 31st, 7 p.m. Cruises depart from Brunswick, Georgia. Call 800-842-0115 or visit EmeraldPrincessCasino.com. Must be 18 years of age and present a government-issued photo ID to board.
I'm Jenkins Nissan.
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 I am Jenkins Nissan.
I'm Donnie Jenkins. We're all Jenkins Nissan, and together we want to show you just how easy buying and servicing your car should be. So please, stop by and experience the Jenkins Nissan difference. Look for the red and white Nissan tent at the corner of Chapel Crossing Road and the Spur, or visit us online at jenkinsnissanofbrunswick.com.
Get affordable health care when you need it. At Apple Care Immediate Care, our team of compassionate healthcare providers is dedicated to treating each patient with the highest standard in healthcare. Located at 1111 Glencoe Parkway, Apple Care is open Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Apple Care welcomes all walk-ins from pediatric to adult ages and accepts most insurance plans. Visit us at applecaredoctors.com and like us on Facebook.
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Again, I'm Teddy Bishop, and this segment of the Victor Floyd Show is brought to you by Coastal Appliances, Port City Paint and Body, the Emerald Princess, Jenkins Nissan, and by Apple Care Immediate Care. Coach, back to the playoffs. I'm guessing it's pretty easy to get your team pumped up for a playoff game.
Well, so far I think it has been. I think they're excited to be back in the playoffs.
And, Coach, I know we talked about this a little bit last week. Your seniors, this will be their first trip to postseason or in the playoffs. So I'm sure the seniors are excited about it, and this is, I'm sure, spilling over to the underclassmen.
Right, I think it is. And, unfortunately, but fortunately, we do have a lot of underclassmen this year, so I'm excited the fact that they get to go as freshmen and sophomore, and hopefully it'll become habit now.
Coach, do you still exchange game film with the opposing coach?
That's kind of a unwritten rule that everybody exchanges, so many tapes. So we do exchange film. And
how does that set up as far as do you send it via the mail or you meet them halfway? Or
everything is Huddle now. You do everything over on Huddle.
Okay.
You send them online.
Okay. Coach, with Sean in at quarterback, we're talking about game film. I'm guessing that there's not really a lot of film available on him running the offense for you. That could be a plus.
Yeah, I hope so. No, there's definitely not a lot of film. Just last week's game, and that's about it.
Okay. Coach, your Pirates will be traveling to Stockbridge this Friday for the first round playoff game. That's a long trip. What time will you leave school?
We'll leave around 9 a.m.
9 o'clock. And I know you were talking about your travel schedule. You'll make a couple of stops along the way and be there in plenty of time. I think you said you wanted to be at the stadium by 4:30 or so.
o'clock.
By 4 o'clock to start going through your warm-ups. Will there be a Spirit bus going for the Pirates?
No, I've not heard about a Spirit bus.
Okay. Coach, Stockbridge, of course, is the champion from Region 4, and, of course, they're the number 1 seed from there. What type of offense and defense do they run?
Well, offensively, they're a triple option team. So, you will see a lot of option, a lot of midline, a lot of veer. Defensively, they're going to be a 4-3 team.
You are listening to the Victor Floyd Coaches Show on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, do you think it's supposed to be kind of chilly this weekend in North Georgia? Do you think the weather's going to play a factor?
I definitely hope not. I hope we're a little mentally tougher than that.
And, Coach, the poll that the Brunswick News publishes each week has Stockbridge ranked 14th in the state in our classification, but according to MaxPreps.com, Stockbridge is ranked number 7 in 5A, and Brunswick High is ranked number 28. Is being an underdog a motivating factor for your team?
Well, I think it is. Just being a 4 seed and them being region champs, I think that's motivation within itself.
Coach, Stockbridge has a very good running back in Artemis Mitchell. He has, I think, over 1,100 yards rushing on the season. do you change your preparation for a premier running back in a playoff game?
No, I think you have to prepare for them all in a playoff game. I don't think you can target just one guy because their quarterback's a very good runner, and they have a couple other running backs who just have a couple of 100 yards who are just as dangerous. So I think when you're running a triple option, you're going to have about 3 guys to defend, and I think you have to treat them all pretty equal.
We will be right back to the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network.
Bruce Kennedy Tire is your hometown destination for tires. Michelin, Goodyear, and all the brands you trust. But don't let the name fool you. Bruce Kennedy Tire, located at 2928 Norwood Street, does more than just tires. Brakes, alignments, repair work, and more than I can mention. Bruce Kennedy is locally owned and operated, so you get the best service in Glenn County. So give Bruce a call at 912-264-6578. Bruce Kennedy Tire, a name you can trust.
Relax. Misty's Element Massage specializes in helping you do just that. Located at 138 Village Market on St. Simon's Island, Misty's Element Massage offers deep tissue massages, therapeutic massages, scrubs, creams, body wraps, and much more. The perfect gift for that special someone, not to mention sports massages for that aching muscle. Schedule your appointment today at 912-224-0198 or on the web at mistyselement.com.
Welcome back to the Brunswick High Pirate Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Once again, I'm Teddy Bishop, and this segment is brought to you by Bruce Kennedy Tire, 1041 The Wave, and by Misty's Element Massage. Coach, we're talking about their running back, Artemis Mitchell, and you mentioned their triple option. They also have a fine quarterback in Malachi Brown. I think Brown has about 600 yards rushing and maybe a little over 900 passing. And as you said, you have to prepare with the triple option really to defense not only the quarterback and Malachi Brown, but then another running back is in the mix too.
Right. Like I said, with a triple option, you're going to have 3 different people to defend every play. And you have to take advantage of, you have to know your responsibility and make sure you play them repeatedly.
Coach, Stockbridge has put up some impressive scoring numbers. They've scored 50 or more points 3 times this season, and they're averaging almost 35 points a game. Of course, Brunswick High is averaging around 27 points a game. Do you think this is going to be a high-scoring affair?
It's hard to say. Each game is different. Matchups are different, so it's hard to say. It is hard to say.
Okay.
I hope not.
So you think a low-scoring game would favor Brunswick High more so than a high-scoring?
I think so.
Okay. This is the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. Coach, what are the keys to a Brunswick High victory for Friday night?
I think with the offense that they run, we must control the football. We must play ball control ourselves in order to keep their offense off the field, because triple option offenses are time eaters. They eat clock. So we need to try to control the ball, no turnovers, and just limit the big play. Those are key factors for us.
And again, their running back, Artemis Mitchell, had 3 or 4 long runs against Drew last Friday night in their region championship game. So limiting not only him but the others as far as big plays. And the Pirates have been hurt occasionally on big plays this season. So playing assignment football perhaps is the key to that?
It's going to be the key.
Okay. Coach, who do you think needs to step up big for the Pirates Friday night?
We actually need everyone to play like they're capable. We don't need a disaster like last Friday night where, only 2 or 3 of the guys actually show up to play. We need, it's going to take a collective group to get it done. We need all the Pirates to play well.
And Coach, in the trenches, looking at their guys that'll be offensive line, defensive line, and looking at our guys, I think the Pirates match up pretty well with them in the trenches.
Well, based on looking, we do. You know, in the trenches, it comes down to that little thing inside of your chest that beats. It's it has nothing to do with the size. But you know, hopefully we'll match up pretty well. I feel like we do, but I hate to say it, and then we don't.
Right.
So hopefully we will.
Coach, how would you compare our region with Stockbridge's region, or can you even really make a fair comparison?
It's tough to compare. It really is. We were talking about that in the meeting Sunday. It's hard to compare. Just two different styles of ball, and it's a little different going back north compared to down in the south where we are. So we'll know after Friday.
For sure after Friday.
We'll know for sure after Friday.
And I know, you know, again, it's like you said, it's hard to compare regions, and polls don't always mean everything, but of course our region has two teams in the top 5 with Ware and Coffee. Stockbridge is, I think, their top-ranked team as far as the rankings go. One poll, Max Preps had them at 7, but then other polls didn't have them in the top 10. So as you said, it's really hard to make a fair comparison. And then the non-region games, even though, you know, Camden ended up, I think, 5-5 on the season, I still, in my opinion, it seems like Brunswick High had a little bit tougher schedule than Stockbridge. Is that a fair assessment, or?
You know,
hard to say.
Kind of hard to say, just because, you know, I don't know the power rankings for their non-region games, but our non-region was pretty solid. It was pretty solid.
Okay. Coach, we always like to talk about former Pirates performing at higher levels now. Any updates that you want to mention over this past weekend for collegiate?
Well, Tracy Walker had a big game. He had 2 interceptions as they defeated New Mexico State. So he had a real big game. He's starting to really settle in at the free safety spot for him. Jarvis had another big game. He had 144 and a couple touchdowns, puts him over 1,000 for the year. He should be up for Offensive Player of the Year in the SIAC. Trying to think. I think that may be all that I got this week statistically. I don't remember anybody else jumping off the screen outside of a catch or two here or there.
Okay. And talking about Jarvis Small, and first of all, I want to apologize to Jarvis and his family. I think last week I referred to him as Harold Small in my first reference to him. But, of course, Jarvis, very fine player at Brunswick High, and as you said, having an outstanding collegiate career. Coach, we got just 30, 45 seconds or so left. Any final thoughts on the playoff game, the playoff picture, or anything you want to mention before we go?
Well, I just like to invite all the Pirates out to, you know, make the trip with us, and we're definitely going to give you a better showing than we gave you last week.
There you have it, a better showing.
Come on out and support the Pirates.
All right. We thank you for joining us for the Brunswick High Coaches Show with head coach Victor Floyd on the Bishop Media Sports Network. And, Coach, I just want to mention one more thing. An article I wrote for the Southern Sports Edition, my final comment on there was, let's put a Y on the end of Victor Floyd's name and come out with a victory.
That works. That works. I'm all for that.
We thank you for joining us. This is Teddy Bishop, and we will see you next week.